once we get the confirmation from our technical team, we can just start the session. It will just take not more than 2 minutes.
No worries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Generally, Saturdays are off, right? How come you guys have like a session and an entire thing today?
Ma'am, we utilize the Saturday for the session so that like we don't have to reschedule classes for the students.
Oh, I see. So students are getting attendance for today.
Yeah, ma'am, like we have an off on Saturday, so like there's no tendency. Like we had some sessions on Friday, and students did got attendance for that. Like the classes will be rescheduled for the same.
We have like the really motivated ones that to let go of Saturday.
I think after COVID, a lot of students are now anyway more willing to come to college because like for 2.5 years, they just didn't get to visit college at all. So now all the motivation's on the higher side.
Yeah, like, are you guys completely back to offline classes, or do you have still the hybrid?
Completely now, like offline. It's like completely offline. So, ma'am, you are good to go for the session.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Beyond Engineering Conclave. Today, we have the honor of hearing from our alums, remarkable individuals who not only excel in their academic pursuit, but are also making a significant impact in the society. Our first guest speaker for today is Amanat. Amanat is a policy manager child at Google. She has had an impressive career, which includes a prestigious
Coming our next speaker of the event, Mr. Shrey Nagaraj, a top-tier MBA MS admission consultant. He's also the founder of Adline Consultancy, and he's an alum of the prestigious Ashoka University. His entrepreneurial spirit and passion for education have led him to co-found Adline Consultancy, where he helps young professionals to navigate the competitive world of higher education. With his unique blend of experience and expertise, Shrey is the ideal advisor for those who are looking to take their higher education to great heights. Today, we have the privilege of listening to them, and we are confident that their vast experience and expertise will inspire and enlighten all of us. Without waiting any further, let's start the session.
Now, I would request Amanat ma'am to introduce herself to the students.
Sure. Thank you so much, both of you, for this kind introduction, and thank you for having us. I'll just give you a brief introduction of my professional career so far, and then we can take it from there. To begin with, I did IT from PEC. I graduated in 2015. To my information right now, I think IT has been merged with CS. So did that, graduated in 2015. Worked for 2 years as an engineer at American Express. I was majorly handling end-to-end business process optimization, looking at mainstream and mid-range applications. While I was doing that, I kind of realized that engineering may not be my ultimate calling. and I wanted to kind of pursue higher education and try to understand like what makes more sense for me. At that point of time, like the straight route was engineering MBA and so on. But I was more interested in issues of child safety, gender-based violence, education, so on and so forth. So more like policy-oriented issues as opposed to like straight-cut finance, marketing, so on and so forth. To get a sense of that field, I worked in Teach for India for almost a year after Amex, and I was in the programs team. So I mean, the value proposition I actually gave Teach for India, because I wasn't from this, the NGO space, was that I could help them with their data analysis. I could like provide hardcore technical skills, which this sector may not have as much. And in return, I just wanted to understand what the education space is like and how that works for underprivileged children. So that was a very interesting experience from like the corporate sector to the NGO space in India. After that, I applied for my master's and went for my master's in public policy at the Kennedy School. While at school, I was focused on human rights policy and technology policies. Child safety, studied that. Within technology, looking at how technology can be implemented in, like conflict situations. So I had the opportunity to work with UNICEF in the Rohingya refugee crisis. The Indian Ocean, there's a lot of trafficking that happens of children. So how can we, implement technology to solve these solutions, to provide solutions to problems? Worked with IOM in like developing monitoring and evaluation indicators for about 26 African countries to look at unaccompanied and migrated children generation across international borders. And again, like how do we more transparent? Can we provide more support to those children? This was at my college. After I graduated, I worked for a year with Google in San Francisco. I was focused on misinformation policy. I graduated in 2020 from my master's. That was the time the US 2020 election, which is now very infamous, happened. So I was working on misinformation policy for the US 2020 election. And then after that, got the opportunity to move to India in a child safety role. So now I'm based in YouTube.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful introduction. Now I would like Shrey sir to enlighten the students with his introduction.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. And so I think very similar but slightly different from Amanat's journey. But Amanat played a huge role in making me realize that my calling wasn't engineering, and that happened way early into my starting of my time in tech. Because when I entered, Amanat was, I think, 2 years senior to me, and she was one of the prolific debaters that we used to have in college, and starting my debating journey and learning from people like Amanat, Shashank, and a lot of people back then, I figured very early that engineering definitely isn't my calling. So while I graduated in 2017 from industrial and production engineering, I was very sure even during my time during INPEC that I'll never opt for a core job. I'll never go explore this line of engineering way more than I was doing in my classes and by sitting for exams. So that became clear. That became very clear at the beginning itself. Post that, I worked for a year with this company called the Smart Cube, which is a market research firm, and I was a strategy and procurement analyst there. So I worked there for a little over a year before I realized that I definitely needed to venture out into something more. And the one realization that I had and the reason that I mentioned debating is very specific here, because the one realization that I had from debating was that while the learning degree was very, very unilateral in nature, right? The kind of education that we were getting, the kind of subjects that we were studying were very different from how the real world was functioning. So for me, I think I could see that in real world, subjects did not exist in silos, and in our classrooms, they sort of did. So the idea was to explore something on a more multidisciplinary, on a more intersectional level. And for me, I think Ashoka provided that platform very well, which is why I think I took that decision little early in my career and decided to go for something like the Young India Fellowship, which is nothing but a 1-year master's program in liberal arts. And it helped us understand. And I saw, I think Sajal did a session a few days back with students of PEC. So I'm assuming a lot of you already know about, what YF is. And with people like Sajal, Shashank, and a couple couple of others, having done the YF before, that obviously gave me some motivation to take that punt early on in my career and go for a liberal arts degree. However, like being as honest and blunt as possible, to convince my parents, to convince people around that switching from engineering to liberal arts, or what even is liberal arts, was a difficult journey to take. But I think at least from now looking back in retrospect, I think I really admire the choice that I made back then in terms of switching to that interdisciplinary curriculum, because it gave me a lot of insights into, how these subjects actually functioned in real life, how economics could not be studied by a better understanding if you don't have a better understanding of gender, if you don't have a better understanding of sociology, of psychology. So all of those things combined, worked really well in helping me do my 1 year at Ashoka. Post that, I worked as a management consultant with Deloitte, which again, I think was, again, in all frankness, was a choice that was more motivated and optimized by the money that consulting offered. And obviously, for somebody who had just gotten out of college, in terms of the kind of problem solving exposure that consulting gave me, and the chance to interact and work with a lot of post MBA people, because a lot of my teammates and everybody was generally people who had done their MBAs from Indian B schools. So to work in teams like that was definitely motivating, and definitely helped me push beyond my limits. So I worked 2 years with Deloitte as a management consultant, and after that, and it was during my journey at Deloitte actually when I'd set up Headlight. So my last 1 year at Deloitte was also when we were piloting what Headlight could be, and the idea was fairly simple. I think in my head, till then I had helped a bunch of friends, a couple of juniors, and a couple of people who we had mentored in schools and around Chandigarh for their applications to schools abroad. And I figured out that this is a space that is definitely interesting. This is a space that's interesting because there are two ways and solve a problem in this space. One could be in terms of, helping people understand what is the right choice for them to make. For anybody who wanted to, let's say, make that switch from engineering to liberal arts or engineering to policy, what could be the right options to make that switch? And also in terms of that switch, providing them a service that helps them facilitate their journey in a particular way, articulate their thoughts in terms of their application procedure, and helping them on an end-to-end basis. And that's what motivated me to start Headlight. And so it's been 2 years of running Headlight till now, and the journey has been great, obviously. So yeah, that's just a bit about myself and how things have panned out since I graduated from Peck.
Nice. So panel, I would like to ask that you said that these top class colleges, you don't choose them, but these colleges choose you. So what's your prospect for these colleges?
Would you like to take that first?
Sure, sir.
Sure, I can go first. I actually remember our dean at HKS, Doug Elmendorf, at that time, during our inaugural session in which the entire class was gathered. It's 200, 300 people from across the world in all of the different programs. He had said that I can replace this entire class with kids just as smart as you are, just as hardworking as you are, with just the kind of experience that you have. So we value the experience that you bring to this program, but do not let this become a chip on your shoulder that, since I graduated from XYZ Ivy League school, this is it. You are very easily replaceable. These are very competitive programs. These are generally top 1% schools globally, and it's very easy for them to, replace people. It becomes, so it's a hard process. And I think at our point of time, services like Shri is providing did not exist. So it was very hard for us to really understand, how to get into these foreign schools, what do they ask for, what is happening, so on and so forth. So I would say definitely a lot of hard work, a lot of research, a lot of connecting to seniors. Currently, I think Peck has a great alumni association. You have students who've studied across in different colleges, and all of us are more than willing to help. So those people kind of, prepares you for this process, but always know it's a process that even though you put your best foot forward, you ace the exams, you ace everything, it's a very, very competitive process. And there is an element of luck, an element of the right timing at the right place that makes you get into these programs.
I think I absolutely agree. And agreeing from the perspective, obviously, comparing Harvard to Ashoka is not a fair comparison at all. Ashoka is only, a bit of what Indian education system, with what they're trying to replicate from the West. But I think having seen a lot of students over the last 2 years, apply to top schools across business programs, across policy programs, I completely agree to what Amanat said, because there have been times where, we've been very surprised with the kind of the kind of profile that a student came up with the kind of credentials that they had, and with even if you write a stellar application for them, you'd see that they make it to the top 2 colleges, but they'll make it to a Harvard and a Columbia, but a U Chicago will reject them for that matter, or a very similar process. So like you'd never know what these colleges are asking for. But I think the one thing that we can understand is that once you get to these colleges, and I think that's the one realization that I've had from Peck itself. Once you make it to a good school, after that it's the fight and the hustle that you have to create that path for yourself, and everybody will be as competitive. People alongside you will definitely push you to to sort of cross your limits, and that's what a good school provides. It's that network of people who can push you to go beyond your limits is what a good school like a Harvard or a Columbia or a U Chicago will provide for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, my next question to both of you is that there is a lot of confusion in students whether to pursue their higher education from India or abroad. And what are the things that students should consider before making these decisions? Ma'am, since you are from a very prestigious world university, and sir, you are from an equally prestigious university that is based in country. So what would you suggest? What do you think about it?
I can go first. So again, it's a very personal decision. A couple of things, and of course there are pros and cons both ways. A couple of things that I thought of was that at that point of time, India did not provide very good policy programs, and I wanted to get in. Since I was changing fields, I wanted to get into a school that provided like a good policy program, gave me exposure to that particular area. So one thing I would encourage people to think about is specifically from your program perspective, the kind of programs you want to do. Do you think great schools in India provide programs like these? Do you think you have to move outside? The second thing that I was interested in was generally exposure. So I come from a defense background. I had kind of traveled across the country. I had a good sense of how India is, how it works. And I wanted to get a sense of, where do I stack up on an international level? And just the exposure that I think these international programs provide is great. We have examples in India, like the Ashoka program that Shrey talked about, where there is focus on diversity. And currently, as far as I know, like Indian MBAs have started focusing on diversity and all of those issues, which like used to sound like fluff to me at that point of time. But I think once you're sitting in class with like people from say 30 different parts of 30 different countries in the world, we had a debate on Israel-Palestine in which we had actual people from Israel and Palestine, like giving forward their point of views. It's a very interesting. So like that global, if that exposure is maybe what you seek, that's the place to be. However, again, like given we've recently seen that, like you have the Indian demographic dividend, you see major companies are, investing in the country. A lot of these campuses might start up opening, sister campuses within India. Again, a great place to be in this space as well. Also financially, I think students don't because these names appeal to you so much, it's very hard to, think about financial repercussions. A degree from outside is very, very expensive as compared to, a degree from India. And if depending on the organizations you want to get into, top organizations globally like to hire from like top schools globally. It's not like we will only hire like students from this particular university or this particular part of the world. So, thinking about, I've seen, especially in the US, there's a major problem. Students almost get in debt trying to get their education and then spend like all of their 20s and their 30s just trying to pay back those loans. So I would think about these issues when I'm kind of like stacking my India versus outside decision.
I think Amanat's almost answered that question, perfectly well. And this is a question that anybody who, even for the company that I run, anybody who now, books a session with us and asks, like, this is the first question that they ask, right? When there's, whether it's for an MBA program or it's for a policy program, how do you make that decision? And I think the one thing that I'll just like to add is a lot of it also depends on the goals that you're seeing for yourself. And that goals bit is also, it's a part of your application process. They definitely ask you to write an essay about, what do your short-term and your long-term goals look like. And I think the one thing that you need to look at your master's program is to see it as a bridge to reach your goal. So you need to understand if your goal in the consulting space in India. So you'll definitely, look for like an ISB or an Indian MBA from any of the top B schools here. But if your goal is to, let's say, work at a product company in Amsterdam, then any of the Indian MBA doesn't make sense because that bridge isn't, taking you towards that goal. So apart from the things that Amanat said, I think just look at that master's option as something that will take you towards your goal, and whichever fits your your background well in terms of what you've done till now and adds and the degree or the experience adds on to taking you towards those short term and long term goals, ideally fits in as the best program. But like absolutely, I think finances is something that you have to take care of. We often, when we talk about these things, we can take stuff like finances for granted, but like just to pursue a degree abroad, depending upon which geography you're in, you're looking at an expenditure of somewhere between 50 lakhs to 1.5 1.7 cr, depending upon which geography, which course, and that is like shit tons of money, for the lack of a better word, right? So like you just need to understand if the goals that you're looking for are good enough for you to repay that loan that you're going to take, or if you're privileged enough to afford that kind of money, then definitely like that, there's no doubt that the diversity, the exposure that you'll be provided by a lot of these programs is going to be a lot better than what some of the Indian programs, at least till date, provide.
So, panel, I believe that there's a lack of knowledge among students about these unique courses. So, how can students keep themselves updated with such unique and higher education degrees? And how did you got to know about these programs?
So like since when we get to think about higher education, the only degree programs that we think about is either MTech or MBA. There is no third option that we know about. So how you guys got to know about such unique degree programs, and what are the ways in which students can get themselves updated about such unique programs?
I think one way, and I'll just try to do a very subtle plug-in, is one reason I've opened up this organization is so that
in shaping his career and his approach to public service. His knowledge and expertise in public policy and economics have enabled him to make significant contributions to the field of tax administration and governance in India. So, let's welcome Sir with a great round of applause.
in teaching, and then when I class, significant amount of time had passed, and then he also made peace with me. He also grilled me, asked me to stand up, asked me all sort of questions. Every time he would come to the class, "Tu ho ja khada," and then ask me a question, and I would at least give him satisfactory answers, and that's how. From the auditorium. My further memories for the subsequent years are, some of them are not worthy to be shared. That I've done at this campus, things that I've done in this campus. So with this little bit start, I and other avenues that are available to you. So I just will add to that before. So with that a very warm thank you, madam, for having me here, and it is a privilege. And I'm standing here addressing you all, and I feel very energetic as well as emotional looking at you, because I used to sit somewhere there in the last row all the time, and those were the precious seats that used to be occupied before, right? Also, I want to apologize if my session has to be rescheduled and there is some inconvenience that has been caused. And but I would like to make up for it in my session. And so I also believe that we have some of the final year students here. Can the final year students raise their hands? Very few. Only 3, 4, 5. The third year students can raise their hands then? They are on interns. Second year students? So the rest of all the first year students. So it is a captive audience then, huh? Yeah, this is a captive. So I will try to moderate my sessions targeting the first year students. That is what I thought, because first year and onwards, and you're almost in your second year, right? Second semester is going on. So you are already in the second year. So my session will primarily, I will speak to you. My target is, audience is you people, because I believe you are at the right juncture where whatever I tell you, if you register it, it might make some change. I will only tell you things did wrong, that the mistakes that I make and how to avoid those mistakes. Right? So be attentive, and whatever questions you have, be open, be frank. Whatever questions, doubt, queries, whatever struggles you have, whatever thing you want to ask me, just throw them at me when we go to the question and answer round. Right? So because we don't have fourth year students, so I will not spend much time on so because we don't have fourth year students, so I time that. In place of that, I will just give you a brief glimpse of what I want if I come back. I have the same time. What will I do? What all have I realized over the years? I passed out in 2007. I went to educational institute. That I have worked in the government for 7 years now. Prior to that, I have worked 2 private institutions. I at least 4 institutions. I have lived in 12 cities. I across 2 continents. Traveled to over 40, 50 cities. I have a network of 500 people, active network of 500 people, and it is building. And it could have been much more. It could have been more wider if I would have not made some mistakes that I made. Right? Okay? So the area that is given to me is empowering leaders through higher education. Can we have a mic in the audience? Yeah, for the audience. Yeah. So I know. Can someone tell me what a leader is? All of us want to be leaders, right? So any one of you what understand leadership and who has you as a leader? Yeah? Anyone? Anyone on the top, in the balcony? At the back, yeah. Can you pass the mic back, please? तो ये hand mic ले ले.
Sir, I believe there are set of qualities, 15 set of qualities that makes a person leader. Basically, these are the leader-like qualities, which consist of taking initiative, having a reasonable, logical mind, and always keeping your peers and your juniors before your own comfort and welfare. So, and there are other qualities as well that makes basically a person leader. So anybody can be a leader if he has set of certain qualities.
Yeah. And those qualities can be acquired?
Sir, they can be acquired, they can be built over a period of time if one practice enough.
Yes, yes. It is a very good answer. So, this is. Can somebody recognize who said these things? We chose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Mic at the back, please.
Joe Biden? I don't know.
Mike, ma'am, I think first thing we need to do is make more investment in infrastructure. Yeah. Having said that, when I was here, we didn't even have this much infrastructure. And when Jaspal Bhatti was here, we had the same infrastructure. Yeah. And also, I don't know how many of you seen. आप लोगों ने flop show कितने लोगों ने देखा? How many of you have seen flop show? Yeah. So only the old people, and I would request, it will only take 20 minutes. You, all of you, please go back on YouTube. There is flop show episode of Jaspal Bhatti titled Chief Guest, where he becomes the chief guest. As comes, there was a door here earlier, and he comes through the same door to this this podium itself, and you see to realize what legacy we are privileged to be part of. Yeah, and what actual humor means. Yeah, plain humor. So John F. Kennedy, he said these things in 1962 at Rice University. What does he mean from these? He plainly means that we should only do things that are hard to do. Do we agree? Do we all agree? नहीं कोई yes कह रहा. Do we agree? Should we do easy things? Should we do hard things? Hard things? Should we strive harder, or should we like rest के यार ठीक है, नहीं जितना है ठीक है. That is why you have come here to this university, to this college, to do things that are hard for you to do. There are 50% students who've come from outside of Chandigarh. 50% students have come from Chandigarh. It is a rigorous competition. अगर आसान कॉलेज होता, आसानी से एडमिशन मिलती, it would not have served the purpose. Right? And this is what you have to inculcate in your life going forward. Do only things that you yourself consider as hard. Don't do things that you consider easy. Agree? Yes or no? In a loud voice. Yeah? Yes? We'll do hard things. जो लगता है कि नहीं कर पाएंगे, सिर्फ वही करेंगे. If you inculcate this in yourself, in your mind, then only it makes more sense. Yeah. Anybody knows who this gentleman is? Yeah? No, there's no point in guessing, but this is Henry Worsley. He was 55 years old when he did a solo transcontinental trek across Antarctica. Solo. It took him several months. He had his skis and he had his whole baggage tied to him, and then he walked like this for I don't know how many months in the snow, in snowstorms in Antarctica. Why? Because it was the hard thing to do and he wanted to do those things. And out of his experience, he gave out these gems. If you want to think, this is what you have. First of all, optimism. How many of you are optimistic? Bus? How many of you are pessimistic? You cannot achieve anything worthwhile without optimism. You have to be optimistic about what you're trying to do. That is, optimism will let you start. What is the second thing? Patience. How many are patient? Hospital wala patient nahi. Patient as in perseverance. If you want something, you are patient to wait for it and get it. How many of you have it in you? When I said I want to speak to the second year and first year students, this is the reason I wanted to speak. Because you are at the right time and right stage where if you inculcate this for the next 3 years, you can get whatever you want. Yeah. Third is endurance. With patience come endurance. You will try, you will fail, you will try, you will fail, you will try, you will. People will mock you, people will laugh at you, people will say, "Chhod yaar, why are you wasting time? Don't do this, don't do that." You'll have to endure all that going forward. Yeah. Then you have to keep your ideals up and high. And finally, you have to have the courage to fight it all. I started working, after graduating, I started working immediately to realize that I should study more. I went back and I did my MBA, started working again. Within 2 years, I realized that I need to study more. I need more. And the more you go further, the more you realize, the more you don't know. There is more things to be learned. Yeah. So this all kept me moving because I don't claim I had this. It was only when I read about this gentleman, the book that was written on this, I realized that this is the way to go forward in life if you want to be somewhere. Right? So the topic that was given to me was, so I want to share some snippets of some leaders to encourage you on these things. Who is this gentleman? Churchill, yeah, Winston Churchill. What is he doing? Huh? Destroying India? apart from that. You know, I'll tell you funny. He's this is the very first time when he made victory sign. You know how did he make it? Like this. And by that time he had won a election in parliament. Then some newspaper gathered and they said, "Sir, a picture for your victory." He's like, "Yeah." Then he went back home and his secretary told him, "Sir, what did you do there?" He said, "I was giving victory sign." She said, "No, sir, victory is this." And then he asked, "Then what is this?" He said, "This is this." So that is how he learnt victory is this and not this. Yeah, the hard way. So we all know who this is. Yeah. To lose patience is to lose a battle. Whatever battle you're trying to fight, you have to be patient. Endurance. Yeah. People in Africa have learned lessons of patience and endurance in their long struggle for freedom. In this cynical world, we have become an inspiration to many. Yeah? Who is this guy? No. Henry Ford. Yeah. So you know Henry Ford, he was born on a farm, dairy, दूध निकालना, दूध जो करना. Then he realized that dairy wali machines are too slow. I want to make fast machines. What did he end up doing? made more fastest machines, yeah? Because he had his idols intact. Who's this guy? Yeah, first black of the United States. I don't see anyone coming after them in a subsequent amount of time, significant amount of time. Yeah. So now pause for a minute. Why did I show you all those things? Because I want you to reflect on these. These are the leaders, these are the qualities, these are the skill sets that somebody mentioned that one must have. And this is something that you can also have. It will take time, but it will come. And to reach this stage, I have some small things that you should do. You should read. How many of you read apart from textbooks? How many pages in a day apart from textbook? How many pages? 10 to 15 pages in a day. Anybody else? How many pages does one read in a day? You know Shashi Tharoor? How many of you know Shashi Tharoor? When he was in class 7th, he made a pledge to himself that I will read one book in a day. Since starting from class 7th till his graduation, he read one book a day for all those years. So that is my advice to you. Start reading. At least 100 pages in a day. 100 pages in a day. Can we do it? 100 pages in a day. We target 100, we reach 50. We target 50, we reach 5. Yeah. Next, write. How many of you write? No assignments outside of your curriculum. How many of you write? How many of you have blogs? Why? This is the right time to start. I have gone to take interviews. I have hired student interns and all. And the first question that I ask them is, what book are you reading? And for most people, the interview is over there only. Because they say कि नहीं. And those who say कि भाई हम ये book पढ़ रहे हैं, then I ask them, do you write? No. When you're reading a book, what is stopping you from writing its review? आपने book पढ़ लिया, you liked it, you want to recommend it. Why don't you write a review for it? आपको movie अच्छी लगी, why don't you write a review about it? You feel some injustice is happening, you go write about it. Today you've seen mic nahi chal rahe, write to madam. Ma'am, I was attending the session and then beach mein mic got disturbed. I think it's high time we should do something about it. Why? Who's stopping you? Start writing. The more you write, the more you will be compelled to write. You will write, madam will write back to you. तुम्हारा क्या चल रहा है? ये वो. You write back. That is what is required of you. And that is how you will develop over the years. You will correct yourself. अगर पहला application आपने लिखना है सिर्फ and सिर्फ job application after 4 years, it will make no sense. Right? So develop a habit of writing. So how many pages did we decide? How many pages we decide for writing? 20. You target 20, you reach where? 2. So write 2 pages at least. Yeah? For a start. Then watch. I'm sure you watch. Or what do you watch? Binge watching. What do you watch? What is famous, that is what you watch. What do you watch? You watch interviews, you watch speeches, you watch discussion, you watch debates, you watch documentaries, and you also watch what is popular. Watch everything that you can watch, right?
Then travel. How many here have traveled in more than 5 states of India? More than 10 states of India. Yeah. Travel. More, जितना travel आप लोग करेंगे उतना आप you will get a perspective of things. You will get a perspective of things. You will get to know how people in those part of the country they live and things that they do. Right? Then meet. What time do your classes get over? What do you do after that? Huh? Assignments? No, one at a time. What do you do after 5? Hang out with friends. After how many days do you meet a new person? Each day. In the college. Outside of college. आप engineering के अलावा, how many of you have met people who are doing commerce, who are doing arts, who are doing medicine? And how many of you meet them regularly so that you get to know what's happening in their domain? So do it. Do it. Yes. Meet them. Find out कि भाई आपके फील्ड में क्या चल रहा है. You tell them भाई हमारे कॉलेज में प्लेसमेंट्स चल रहे हैं. These are the companies that are coming. This is the kind of packages they are offering. This is the kind of jobs we are required to do. You tell them, you ask them. Right? So that it broadens your horizons. I did my engineering, I did my MBA. After that I felt this urge that I should study social sciences because social sciences पढ़ा ही नहीं था. I don't know how the polity is working, how the government is working, how policy is made, what are the courts for, when can I go to the court, what is the administration for, and how did we arrive at this system that we currently are at. So meet, read, watch, and then engage. How many of you here do some voluntary activities? कौन कर रहा volunteer? Where are you volunteering? That is through your university. Outside of university, who is volunteering anywhere? Where? Very good. Clapping for him. This is the time that you have. आप pass out हो जाओगे. When you start working, you will not find this free space. So please find out a situation where you can contribute, and I'm sure everybody of you can contribute to something or the other. If you start doing it now, and then you'll reach somewhere, right? So I have compiled, I'll leave this presentation here. I have compiled some lists including books, podcasts, newspapers, movies that I want at least some of you to adopt and then read and watch by the time you come out of in your final year. So these are the books, these are the movies, this is all coming from my own experience. I am going to leave this presentation here with Ankit, so you can all go through it. You read, try reading these books, try watching these movies, subscribe to these newsletters and podcasts, and then this is also because Ankit asked me to conclude a list of scholarships that are available for future studies. This is also here. So when you are in a third year or final year, probably you can refer to them. And this is my final advice to you. And I'm not going to tell you who said these things. Do we agree? Can I have lived dangerously throughout my life till this date. My wife is here. She can affirm it. Live dangerously and freely. Don't be confined. Yeah. Be naughty. Be whatever you want to be. Right. And nothing will happen. You will be all right. Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for the audience? Which, any questions, any comments, any suggestions, or any rebuttals, or anything that comes to your mind? Please tell me. I'm here. Or there is no mic in the audience? Mic है audience के लिए? Please circulate. My email is there if you want any kind of assistance that you think I can help you with. You can always. Any questions? If not, then I think, Ankit, what you have any questions?
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. I think your recommendations, like I'll definitely want every student to cover it. And few of the podcasts that you have mentioned, like Seen and the Unseen, like I have watched it all, and these are very insightful things. You can give it hours, and it feel like you have learned so much in that short duration. So thank you, sir, for all these recommendations. Like we'll have just 2 questions, and then we can wrap this up. Like firstly, one thing is when I started looking into your profile, one thing that interested me, and I want all of the students to just listen about it. So, like your academic profile, just if you want, I can share with the students. You graduated from PEC in 2007. Then you did your MBA in 2009 to 11 in Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Then you did CFA of all 3 levels. Then 2013 you joined JNU and you did Master in Arts for 2 years. Then you did 2 years of postgraduate diploma in business law, and then you did public policy economics in University of Oxford. So that is quite an extensive list of education. Like we all can, like.
To add to it, I have received admits from University of Chicago and Columbia University for Masters in Public Policy starting this September.
So my question to you is, how did you maintain that like eagerness to learn, keep on learning, to keep on changing the profile? Like it requires a lot of hard work because you kept your job, you worked during that duration. So how did you maintain and keep up that timetable to accommodate all of this in your lifestyle?
Ankit, when I look at it from that point of view, the way you've brought it out, this, it might appear to be very, daunting or very too much. But once you are on that path, then you start enjoying the process. Like I said, the more farther you go, the more farther you will realize that you don't know so many other things. Yeah. You start studying. When I went to MBA, my inclination was towards finance and economics. And MBA, there are only introductory sessions to all variety of subjects. Because I wanted a thorough, in-depth knowledge about finance, then I picked up CFA. And when I started my CFA, then that is the point when I realized that there is so much of economics that I don't know. Yeah. CFA is primarily focused on finance and it only touches upon economics. So there is so much of economics that I don't know, and it left me very unsettled that I should know this. So when I studied economics, then I realized I don't know how policy is being made. what parameters. Economics is all right, but how do you use it to make policy? So then I went to apply to study public policy. So it is one road leads to the other road, and you will always find time for things that you want to do. You will, I am sure that is why when I am talking to these students, this is the best time that they have, because they have no liabilities apart from studies. They don't have any other commitments. So pick up whatever you like and then use your time to do that. That's what I did basically. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. The second question that I had was, for a lot of our speakers that came here, everyone had a drive, a motivation to do something. Like some were driven by money, some were driven to have the high status. Like what is a thing that drives you to like wake up in the morning and do the work of the entire day? What is that driving force for you?
That driving force actually kept changing for me. When I was here, by the time I was in final year, the driving force was money. कि भाई अब बस अपने पैसे कमा के उड़ाने हैं. That's what I did for 2 years. Then I did, when I was working, then the driving force was more money. कि भाई इंजीनियर को इतनी सैलरी मिलेगी, एमबीए को इतनी मिल सकती है, you should do an MBA. By the time I was doing MBA, after finishing my MBA, I was in Bombay, Mumbai, earning. Then I realized that I want prestige. then it drove me towards civil services. When I cleared civil services, now it is 5-7 years. Then now I want academics. Now I want that, one should be sound and thorough with one things, and one should have all this knowledge and all. So it keeps on changing, and I feel that I was just lucky that I could, just try my hand on it, and I was successful. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And for the last question of the session, what would be the last key takeaways that you want all of the students, especially the first years, to take onwards in the next 3 years of their journey in the college? Like how they should look at their college, what are the do's and don'ts that you want to give to them based on your own experience?
Like I said in the beginning, I do not want to share my experience because I gave you a glimpse of what I was doing when I was in PIC. There are several other things that I wish I could have told you, but that experience also counts because those are the things I should avoid. And one thing one must do as a student is adopt sincerity. Whatever you do, at least be sincere in that. Don't make half-cooked meals. If you are a cook, don't make half-cooked meals. If you are a student, don't do things just for the sake of it. Unless you are thoroughly involved, then there's no point. Then you're wasting time. Be involved in whatever you do. Whatever you decide that I have to do it, and then you do it fully, with full energy, full momentum, full heart, and then you will see how magic happens. Then there is no letting you down. That will be my only. And then follow what I've said in my presentation. Follow those 5 things: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then follow the last thing. If you have that, then you will be not only all right, you will be outstanding. You'll have a gala time and you'll enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It was definitely the best session we had throughout 2 of the days.
Sure, you're saying that to all of
Okay, thank you, sir, for inspiring words, and again a huge round of applause for the sir.
It seems everyone I see in the audience has gained some insights about sir's experience and the importance of higher education in your life. I also admire sir and want to express my appreciation for an inspiring speech today. We appreciate your time and thank you so much for sharing your expertise. Now I would like to invite our faculty in charge CDGC to kindly come up on the stage and honor sir with the memento of event. I again thank sir for gracing us with his presence and request everyone to kindly be seated.
Hello. अक्रोध तपस क्षमा प्रभिभूत धर्मस्य निर्युग्यत सर्वसमपि सवकार निधम शीलम परम भूषणम. Control of one's anger, of penance, of efficiency, straightforwardness, and of dharma. Good character is the base of all the above qualities and is the greatest ornament of all. With such a delightful thought, Udaan, a higher education initiative, a brainchild of our director Dr. Baldev Sethia, was started by the Career Development and Guidance Center in the year 2021 as a one-stop solution to address and provide right guidance about career prospects post-undergraduation or doctorate. Motivated by the previous edition, Udaan started with a zeal and involved insights into areas such as career options in research and innovation, India and abroad on day one, and prospect of management studies and beyond engineering options at day two. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of this wonderful event, I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt thanks to all those who have made this event possible. Firstly, I want to thank our distinguished speakers for sharing their knowledge, expertise, and experience with us. Your insights have been valuable and inspiring, and we are grateful for the time and effort you have put into preparing for this event. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to thank all the first yearites who attended Udaan 2023 wholeheartedly. It has been an honor to be a part of this event. At the end, on behalf of entire student organizing committee, I would like to thank Professor in charge Dr. Poonam Saini and our faculty coordinators Dr. Sudesh ma'am and Dr. Ankit for making this event a great success. At the end, I want to conclude by saying that the Udaan, which was the name Udaan, which was inspired by our renowned alumni Kalpana Chawla, I would like to end by a quotation from her that let your spirits take a flight, your dream awaits you. I repeat, let your spirits take a flight, your dream awaits you. Thank you. Now, we would like to felicitate all the committee members. So I will start giving I would like to invite Yuvraj sir for felicitating all our committee members who have contributed for the past 2 days, along with Professor in charge Dr. Poonam, Dr. Ankit, and Dr. Sudesh. Firstly, I would like to start with our organizing event coordination committee led by Ankit and Kavya. I would request all the committee members to be on the stage for the felicitation. Alpit Singhal, Akhil Makkar, Harsimrat Kaur Gill, Mayank Bhatnagar, Mishank Kumar, Prakul Bhatia, Pratyush Soni, Rajat Garg, Ridham Das, Sanchita Goyal, Vidansh Singh, Dipanshu Gautam, Aditya Kumar, Ayush Kaushik, Kriti Jain, Harshita Upadhyay, Muskan Singhal and Ayush Kansal. Let us have a big round of applause for them. All the speakers which have been on board, it is the contribution of this team and leading the speakers and moderating the sessions. We thank this team for putting their sincere efforts.
A big round of applause for the entire team. Next up, we have creative printing and event coverage team led by Pravar, Parth and Radhika. The team comprises of Aryaveer, Uttam, Priyanshu, Astha Chopra, Mayank Jindal, Devanshi, Akshit Singhal, Yogita, Nandini, Nikita Sharma, Parul Chobar, Suruchi Suman, Shreya. And event coverage we have Arin, Milan, Piyush, Anurag, Somil, Abhineet and Dipanshu. This is because of the entire arrangement of the entire creative. All the decoration has been done by this committee. All your pictures have been captured by this committee. It's all thanks to them that this infrastructure of the decoration exists today here. So thank you to the creative printing and event coverage team. A big round of applause for the entire team. Next we have the logistics and hospitality team led by Raghav and Sudarshan. This team comprises of Rishan Thakur, Pratham Sharma, Adarsh, Sakshi Batra, Nakul Garg, Aditya Anand and Harsh Seth. Please come over to the stage. This team organized all the snacks distributions for you all the muffins that you got, all the classic 44 refreshments, all the Red Bulls. So it's all thanks to these guys that they coordinated so that you all got all the refreshments. All the arrangements of the arena was done by all of them. A big round of applause.
Next, we have the digital media team led by Nishant Vashisht. The team comprises of Sameer Pathak, Yashwendra Singh Bhadoria, Aniket and Sarthak Garg. A big round of applause for all the digital media team members.
Next up is everyone's favorite, the discipline committee led by Anubhav Sharma. This committee comprises of Arnav, Moksh, Dheeraj, Kuvam, Harsh, Tushar, Adarsh, Jitanshu, Shashwat, Mayank, Himanshu, Anurag, Uttam, Sukhman, Vishwajit, Aryan, Priyanka, Astha, Vidit, Nitin, Manak and Rishi. Come up to the stage, everyone. The bouncers of the event are here. Big round of applause for them. From the PR team, it was led by Sushant Gambhir, the head of CIM. I don't think he's here today, but a big thanks to him for leading the entire PR team. So big round of applause for Sushant.
And last not the least, the entire OC will agree. We have two people who made this event possible and give this event all the best they have. So can we have a big round of applause for convener and co-convener for the event, Sukhman and Abhishek.
Now, I would like to invite our professor in charge of Career Development and Guidance Center, Dr. Poonam Saini, to give a vote of thanks.
A very good evening to everyone, and first of all I would like to thank all of you for the patience you had for 2 days event, and we hope we had been successful to organize this event to trigger some keywords in your brains so that you are now going to get ready for your future endeavors. So as we are moving towards the end of the event, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers who have came here to share their insights and knowledge with us. I would like to take this moment to express my gesture of gratitude to all the staff and organizing committee members, especially including Baljit ji, Pramod ji, Rakesh ji, Naveen ji, Puneet ji, Vinod ji, for their unparalleled coordination in order to make this event a success. A big round of applause for all of them. I would also like to express my gratitude to all the audio coordinators. Sir, we will work on the technical glitches although in the coming events, who work tirelessly to ensure that the event ran smoothly. Due to capacity constraints of the Audi, we had 300 students here, but at the same time 500 students were listening to you in the other lecture rooms by YouTube streaming for this session. But again, I will like to commit that in near future we are going to look into all the glitches we have from this event. Lastly, I thank you all and hope that all the attendees got a lot of information from this event. We hope that you have learned something new and that this information will be useful in your personal and your professional lives. Once again, thank you all of you who contributed to the success of this event. We look forward to future events and collaborations with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we announce the closing of Udaan 2023, a higher education initiative. Thank you for coming, everyone. Now, please be seated. Meanwhile, our honorable guests and Poonam ma'am and the faculty coordinators Ankit sir and Sudesh ma'am will leave. Please maintain the decorum for the final last minute, 5 minutes, right? Thank you, everyone.